Q&A with DJ Beatstreet, and today I have an international musical traveler. He's won 5 times the DJ Magazine's 100 Best Top DJs. Has a small radio show, I don't know if you heard of it, happens every week, A State of Trance. And right now he's got a brand new album, everybody, Armin Van Buuren.
How you doing?
What's going on, Armin?
I'm very well.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Armin, for the people who are just getting into you now, recently, can you let us know a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I'm Armin Van Buuren from Holland. I'm 36 years old. A couple of years ago I started a radio show, A State of Trance. You just touched on that. I'm a DJ, travel all around the world. I produce. Finished my law degree 2002. I'm not currently working as a lawyer, but I set up a company called Armada Music, which I co-own together with 2 of my partners. And living the DJ dream basically, but in a very serious way. You know, I'm really in love with trance music. That's my main sound, so that's what I try to bring.
Okay, awesome. And with the whole State of Trance, congratulations on your 600th episode. You're like now beyond that, like 6. Where are you now? Like
612.
612. Yes. And I just heard you recently took over BPM with your whole Intensity takeover.
Yes.
Congratulations with that. And Intensity is the album, and the current single right now is
This Is What It Feels Like.
This Is What It Feels Like. Can you tell me about that song, the inspiration for it? Because I really find the lyrics interesting.
Well, the lyrics were actually written by Trevor Guthrie, the singer, with the help of Jens and Vaughn. And actually was written, I sent an instrumental to Trevor and Jensen in Vancouver, Canada. When I was in my studio vibing away with 2 other friends, we wrote some chords. The track went his way, and he heard that his neighbor got diagnosed with a brain tumor. Fortunately, the neighbor is still alive and treated well, and the tumor is gone. But he was so shocked when he heard the news, and he just received my instrumental, and he wrote the first version of the vocal for This Is What It Feels Like. So it was actually, about missing your mother or your neighbor or your loved ones. So the song is a little bit sad, but I think we can all relate to it. But the video we made makes up for the fact that it's a little bit sad, because the video is actually pretty funny to watch, I guess.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I wanted to really know the story because I listened to the lyrics and I was like, oh, this is a really sad song, but it's so good. And actually, I'm a big fan of a lot of your vocal work. You got tracks like Drowning, Feel So Good, Never Giving Up on Love. With those, and I think, for me, listener, and I think other people who are listening, they can feel the amount of work and effort you put into these tracks, you and the vocalist.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Can you give us a little bit insight as to the process of how you put these songs together?
I don't really have a standard way of working. It's not the case that I just make an instrumental and send it via email to a writer and he or she writes a song. It's different every time. You know, with the case of This Is What It Feels Like, I wrote an instrumental, sent it to Trevor, got the vocal back, completely changed the music, found the riff, the piano riff, and then finished the production, which took about 4 months to finish the final track. Another track on my new album, Intense, is called Sound of the Drums. It's together with Laura Janssen. She's half American, half Dutch. Her mom's from America and her dad's from the Netherlands. So she travels back between LA and Amsterdam. And I did a bootleg of a track that she did, beautiful track called Use Somebody. And on the back of that, it was so successful that she called me up and said, hey, let's have some dinner. And we started chatting, and then the idea came to do a song together. So she came to my house, and we sat at my kitchen table, and we started with the piano and her voice. And that's how that song came about. So for me, there's not really a standard way of working. It's not like, oh, I always start with an 8-bar loop or always the bass line. For me, it's different every time. It can be that I start with as a dance track, pure, like building a solid foundation, or I could just sit in my studio table, with a guitar and a piece of paper. So for me, it's always about the song. If I feel something with the song, then we continue.
Definitely. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who they'll have a loop, they'll create emotion, or just some people are just like factories, man. They're just sending music out, get it done, and it comes right back. And you mentioned about, you have, who was it again, that on the Intense album featured?
Laura Janssen, Trevor Guthrie, Miri Ben Ari, Richard Bedford,
Okay.
Lauren
Yeah,
Evans.
Is there any co-production or as well any other vocal features that we should be excited for that are going to be featured on this album?
I am really, really excited about a couple of tracks. First of all, the opening track, Intense.
Mm-hmm.
It's featuring Miri Ben Ari. Miri worked with Jay-Z, and she won several Grammys for her work as a violin player. So working with a violin artist, classical artist, on a trance album is actually pretty new, I think. So I'm really excited about that track. Another track I'm really excited about, the track Alone with Lauren Evans. You might know her from her work with Shaka Khan, for example. And she worked together with Lady V, Victoria Horn, in LA. It's actually a pretty sad story again. It's Lady V drove to the studio and saw a guy falling off the pavement, and he fell with his head on the street, 65-year-old guy. And cars just drove around him instead of stopping. And so she was so upset about that. She stopped traffic and she helped the guy. She called an ambulance, helped him. The guy's okay now, but she was so upset about it. She wrote the song Alone together with me and Lauren. We use that as an inspiration. I think it's a very powerful message that goes from the song. You know, the lyrics literally go, everyone's connected, but no one is connecting. You know, as it's a really powerful song, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, I could go on and on about the collaborations, you know, particularly happy about the track with Emma Hewitt as well. It's called Forever Is Ours, which is a happy song for a change. Really excited to be working with her. Yeah, there's many tracks on the album.
Nervo Sisters?
Nervo Sisters again, Turn This Love Around. Nervo Sisters from Australia. Currently touring a lot in the US. Amazing girls. So happy to see two girls on the DJ scene. It's a breath of fresh air. And we worked together with a girl called Laura V, which also did the vocals on Drowning on my previous album, Mirage. So, yeah, that's doing really well, and the crowd reaction to that is really, really epic.
I already have the album, so I'm not even going to say that I can't wait for it to come out. I think, you know, from hearing Armin speak, you should definitely check this out. Production-wise, what do you like to work with as far as software and hardware?
My main DAW is Logic Pro, okay. But I use a lot in Ableton. I record. I worked with Pro Tools. I even worked with FL Studio on this album.
Oh wow!
I don't have a standard way of working. You know, if something excites me, if I hear a sound that's cool, I don't want to be just stuck in one DAW. I like to fool around with several pieces of gear and also live equipment. Like the last track on the album, Reprise, is a complete rock track. A little bit silly, but we worked with a whole band, so that was drums and live stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But my main the main sequencer is from the DAW Logic Pro. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad you use Ableton. I'm a heavy Ableton user.
Yeah.
I love the program.
Ableton is great for inspiration, especially with beats. It's so quick. You know, if you want to put something down, Ableton is great for instant inspiration. Also for melodies, it's great, but I use it mainly to program beats and effects because I like to be creative with effects a little bit. Definitely.
Let's talk music real quick. Recently, we've seen EDM has taken over America. With your Rihannas, your Chris Browns, and also kind of push more to the front mainstream with your LMFAO, Black Eyed Peas, will.i.am. Why do you think America took so long to jump onto dance music? It was so popular overseas.
I think hip hop was just immensely big here in the U.S. and it still is. It's part of culture here, and a lot of young people just grew up listening to hip hop. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, I grew up listening to hip hop as well. Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, NWA. I still love I still have all those albums. Public Enemy, but I guess in Europe we had sort of this wave of really big events that just sparked young kids to go to, and it sparked the radio thing. And right now, what you see is that a couple of R&B artists have embraced the EDM sound. So that has crossed over to top 40 daytime radio. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing always, but at least something's happening. Music is never a fixed thing. Having said that, I think trance where it is right now is perfect. I've said many times before, I think the trance fans in the world are the best. Why? Because they come to a show and they're there for the music. You can just feel it. People are so enthusiastic about the music, just purely the music. People holding up signs of songs that I have to play. People crying in front of you just when you're playing a track, you know. It's very emotional music. So I think where the Trance family is right now, it's a pretty good place.
Yeah, and you said you mentioned growing up listening to hip hop, and I guess I want to pick your brain on kind of a new subgenre that's popped up on electronic dance music. I've heard a couple of sets from Ultra Music Fest, and there's a thing called trap coming out, and I guess it's the hip hop influenced electronic dance. What are your thoughts on trap?
Well, it's a little bit the same as with dubstep, you know. It's just I think with the boom of EDM in America is also now one of the becoming the leaders in EDM, because they're sort of, dubstep is, I feel, more an American thing than a European thing. It's not black and white. Of course, there's great dubstep producers from Europe, but I think with trap as well, it's more an American thing than a European thing. But it's good. It's exciting because it's moving on. It's not close to my heart. I'll admit that. It's not something I would play in my sets. Don't worry. I find it interesting. It definitely inspires me. This WMC in Miami, I just went to see a lot of new talent, because I think you can learn something from any DJ out there, no matter how young or how old, a veteran or a new person. Any DJ has something that inspires me. So I went to see a lot of the guys that are from my genre, like Andrew Riel, Orion Nielsen, Cosmic Gate. Really like them. But I also went to see Skrillex, not because that would be something I would be playing. Same thing with trap. There would definitely be something I would be checking out. Bauer. Is a massive song.
R.L. Grime.
Yeah, but I think you have to be open to that sound. I think you have to be open to new sounds, and see what people are liking out there. And if you're stuck in your own zone, it can become boring for yourself as well. And I don't want to be bored. So, having said that, my heart is with trance, to be honest.
Awesome, and I mean that's great. I was going to ask you where you feel like it's where dance music should go, and it's actually showing that it's evolving. And I think America wants to fuse with EDM, and if hip hop's our culture, trap will be the next thing, and who knows what in the next 2 years it's going to be. It's
exciting. I think it's really, really exciting, because all these styles are merging, and radio is picking up some of it, and it's great. And you can have two thoughts about this. I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily too happy about the commercialization of everything. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it is opening doors for all of us. Don't forget that. I mean, if you have an EDC festival in Vegas where 300,000 people show up, it means like probably more than half of those people will be at the main stage checking out those, more mainstream sets. But it also opens doors for the more underground genres and the new genres to flourish on the other tents. So, young people now have the time to go to other tents and investigate new sounds. And that wouldn't happen if we wouldn't have those massive festivals. You probably would have only 1 or 2 tents. Now you can have 16,
Exactly.
So it's good for EDM that's happening. It's opening doors for new talent, new sounds, and it's going quick now as well. Dubstep is only a fairly new thing, and now it's already trap taking over. So, and that will move on, and I think it's exciting. Music should be like that. Should be moving on.
Mm-hmm. And speaking about EDC and all these other festivals, lastly, what is your favorite place to play, whether it be a festival, a club, or America across some other land? What is your favorite place in the world to play at?
I mean, the politically correct answer is that, of course, it depends on the crowd. Mm-hmm. If you want an unpolitically correct answer, I'd probably say Ibiza for me, because I've been coming there since 2000, and I've been a resident there now for 8 years. Every week, and now we moved to Privilege, which is the Guinness Book of Records world's biggest club, every Monday starting June 17th till September 23rd this summer. So that is so exciting, man. I can't tell you. Also because America's really embraced Ibiza right now. I can feel there's a lot of Americans coming to Ibiza, which is really cool. It's great to have a presence there. And Ibiza has a magic about it. I know many people try to compare Vegas to Ibiza. Mm-hmm. I understand that, but I don't think it's right. Vegas is a thing on its own. Ibiza is a thing on its own. And Vegas is not on the ocean. So
this is true. It's in the desert.
It's in the desert.
It's very dry.
I know. So but if you really put a gun to my head and say, okay, what's your favorite club? I would say Privilege Ibiza.
Okay. Armin, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. Is there anything else that you want to tell anybody before you leave besides that you make sure and cop that Intense on iTunes?
Yeah, just want to say a massive thank you to all my fans out there who've been supporting me for years. I mean, guys, to work on something for 2.5 years, at one point you just don't know anymore, you know. And I'm so glad it's out there and it's getting such great response. When it just released, it was #1 in 20 countries on iTunes. That's just a great feeling. I'm not doing it for the charts. I mean, don't worry, I never forget my roots, but I just want to say thank you for all my loyal fans that have been around for years, and I hope to see you very soon in the State of Trance or somewhere else.
Awesome. And before we leave, I want to give you a gift from me to you with the skyline of Philadelphia on there, so you can remember us by.
Pretty cool.
Yes, and you're playing outdoors tonight too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, when the sun goes down.
Pretty cool, man. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. We're done. Boom.
That's it.
Yep.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Thank you.